Good morning. Phillip Davis, Ancestry Lands, AncestryLands.com. Beautiful, bright morning here on the way to work. Yeah, it's a work day, even though the traffic looks very little. In the summertime, we get the beauty of having a less stop and go ride to work and more of a cruise, if you will. I got up and started getting dressed for work, showered, of course. I always shower in the morning. I think it's important to, when you shower in the morning, it does kind of wake you up a little bit. The sensation, your body, tactile all over, it gets to wake up because of the sensation of water. And it does help to moisturize your skin and open up your pores. As I was thinking throughout my day, I'm saying to myself that, do you have somebody in your camp, as you're successful, you do have a sense of arrogance and a sense of dominance that comes about because you are accomplishing things. It does lead to a level of confidence that is atypical for people at that age, because most people are doing what? They're stuck in a job, they're working a job they've been at for years or months or days, and they're in the routine of work, right? They're doing work. They're not doing anything that's exceptional. If they do something that's exceptional, it more is a task or an event or an item or a project that they've done that's successful, but it is not lasting success. When you're a person who is building a business and you are starting to achieve wealth and all the things associated with it, it is more of a milestone of achievement, not a task or project of achievement. And with that does come a level of confidence that can morph into arrogance. When I say, and I'm going to explain, I'm going to get to the point of how you distinguish between confidence and arrogance, but I will tell you this. Most people will often mistake confidence for arrogance because they don't have confidence themselves. And I'm going to tell you what you do, how you can tell also if you are a person who is arrogant. And the biggest difference is, if you don't have somebody in your camp, I'm not talking about your wife or your husband. I'm talking about someone that you can respect their criticism of you. Then you are confident and not arrogant. You would ask me, who is that? I have a close friend and associate of mine, Mr. Eric Kennedy. And he's like a brother to me. In fact, I do call him my brother because he acts in the ways a brother would, a real brother would. And he can tell me about myself without me having a instinct that it's coming from jealousy. He can tell me when I'm wrong. He can tell me when I'm full of, and I'm kicking some bullshit to him. He's not afraid to tell me that I'm right or I'm wrong or I need to change my perspective. And many times he's helped to guide me through what I would call arrogant disaster. He's gotten me to look at the bigger picture. There have been moments in my life where he's prioritized my family more than I have in a moment. And it's not even his family. We're not even blood related. But he treated me in that moment as he would. The wisdom and counsel he gave me was to tear me away from the thoughts that would have led to disaster. And it's true. Because if it wasn't where I'm at today, and if today I can say I'm successful, and I was thinking of doing something to take me off that track, then again, he avoided disaster in my life. But he was a person that I listened to his counsel, and his counsel came from neutrality and being objective in the information that I was giving him. He took time to ponder, to think, and consider what I was saying, consider my feelings too as well. And he was able to look past my emotional, I would say, and I wouldn't say instability, but my emotional state at the time. Because he is a confidant, a person I confide in. And when he was talking to me and telling me about myself, I was listening. Many of us do not look in the mirror to look at ourselves And if we can't even do that, we won't have another person be a mirror in our lives to have a reflection of who we are that could tell us about ourselves. You look at that Disney movie, what is that, Snow White or whatever, whichever one, Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. In the tale of Snow White, the woman who was the Mirror, Mirror on the Wall woman, the evil queen, Snow White was in the woods, right? Snow White was no threat to her. But again, because she didn't like what she heard in the mirror, she couldn't stand herself and had to act. I would dare say if she left things alone, there would have never been anything to it. Snow White would be in the woods, and her life would have ended a happy life living with the 7 dwarfs. But again, because she was so bothered by what she heard in the mirror, she had to act upon it, leading to her own destruction. Now, I don't say that story as a, Disney goer, you need to watch Disney in some kind of way. I say it as a way to give you an example of what I'm talking about when you can't have someone be the mirror to tell you about yourself. Because she was looking for the mirror to tell her what she wanted to hear, and the mirror told her the truth. And she could not just accept it and go about her business. She had to try to fight it. And when she fought it, it led to her destruction. So again, when I hear a confidant, a person that gives me counsel, that can tell me about myself, give me a different perspective, sometimes good and sometimes harsh. Both are needed. If you are a king or queen, or you claim to be a king or a queen in life, then a king should have counsel. A queen has advisors. And advisors are not people who agree with you. There are people who give you advice on the better ways to rule or consider your rulership. And the kings throughout history, and queens too, who have gone against the advice of their advisors, a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, you can look them up, Henry VIII, and a host of others, a bunch of queens and royals who've been in prison or put up into castles or keeps and locked away until their untimely demise, have not followed the advice of their advisors and their counsel. It's like when you're at trial and your lawyer advises you to take the time or take the plea, you don't do it and you end up getting a life sentence. You could have did 5 years and you thought you were a better lawyer than your lawyer, and again now, you're locked up for a longer time. Now you're doing a real bit. What do you have advice or counselor for, and what are they called? Lawyers are called counselors. Not a kid counselor, but an actual person. When you have a mental health disorder, you go to get counseling. When you have problems in your marriage, you go to get counseling, correct? And the counselor is there to objectively observe the arguments or the issues going on and find a way to mediate them for a better outcome. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what they're designed to do. Now, I'm not going to talk about how screwed up it's gotten and distorted nowadays with the way the world is. But when you have somebody that's true to you, you need to listen. I'm not talking about somebody who sits there and they smile in your face, tell you they love you, and really they're jealous looking for you to go down. I'm talking about a person that shows you that they don't have anything in it, win or lose, whether telling you what it is, what is. They don't have a vested interest in seeing you suffer. They take no pleasure in your downfall, and they're happy for you when you're successful. When he gives me advice, I consider it wise counsel. For consideration. Does that always mean I need to act on it? No. But it is something to consider. And the reason why I can tell you that you're not arrogant, I'm going to tell you why, is when you hear that type of counsel, do you marinate on it? Do you think about it? Does it conflict you with something you were so sure about at the time before you heard it? Are you resolute still Do they have the ability to sway your emotions and give you doubt about something you're sure about may or may not be true, or may not be successful, or you need to think about it more? There have been times where my wife's accused me of not being supportive because, again, when she comes to me, I look at business ideas, and I've talked about this before, and I've said, I don't think that's a good idea. She'll say, why? And the first thing I'll tell her is, you didn't do your homework. You didn't do your due diligence. And immediately an emotional wave of uproar comes about. And I've told her time and time again, if you had done your homework and I could talk to you like the Shark Tanks talk to people when they have a business, then it would be different. There are people who have been on Shark Tank, the show Shark Tank, and the sharks have told them about their business and they didn't support them. Those people didn't just close the business down and stop selling product. They went about seeing if they could prove the sharks were wrong. And some people went back on the show to show them that they've done even better. And some people took the experience and learned from it. And they became better businessmen. And even though they may not have the sharks' investment, they went on to still become successful. And they took the criticism, the critique, the information, the counsel they gave about how to strengthen up the areas they were deficient or weak in. Now, again, do you have to learn from someone that is in a position? Now, Mark Cuban, these are people who are successful and successful and successful. But again, you might have someone in your life, in your camp, that is observant, that is a successful observant, a person that is non-biased and objective. Well, actually, they are biased. They're biased in the fact that they can be objective. I might be saying that wrong, but I don't care. You're going to have to figure that out. My whole point in saying that is that these are people that can say, no, you might be wrong in this one. And it can't be someone that has blood ties to you. It's got to be someone else. Not immediate family members. Not your mom, not your dad, not your brother, not your sister. Someone who's not competing with you. And again, when you sit there and they give you that advice, that counsel, and it stirs you up, and it gets you to the point where you might have to reconsider, and you do, you're confident, not arrogant. Wise kings have always had counsel. Trust me, even if you believe in the Bible or you believe in history, King Solomon had counsel, and they said he was the wisest king of them all. He still had people to counsel him, and the reason why he's considered the wisest is because he had wise around him, wise people around him. He was surrounded by wisdom. Now, I just want to take a look. See this car getting over to the right, not in front of this truck here. This car has a trailer behind them, and they're driving in the left lane with a trailer behind them. Generally, any car pulling a trailer tends to have to stay in the right lane. And I don't understand when people drive why they do this kind of stuff, man. And where the hell are the cops at to pull people over doing these moving violations? I don't understand it, why you're in midday morning traffic, this car over here. I'm going to try to see if I can get over there safely. And that's one of my points about this, is that I, again, try to maintain wisdom around me. People who can give me life lessons, who I value. I'll even take wisdom from a person who's a failure. See, they're doing this again. It's right over here. It's right in front of this truck here. I'm going to pass them. And speeding too, no less. If this thing, I never drive behind people who have this little trailer behind them, because if this thing breaks off, it's coming back in, but you're not going to have time to react. Right here, this jackass right here. I say I'm not going to drive behind him as I try to get over quickly. But they're driving like they don't have this big old weight behind them. See that? They're driving, of course, they're from Jersey. But he's going faster than I am with this thing behind him. And you're not going to get in front of me, buddy. He ain't killing me. Look how fast this person's driving. Look at this motherfucker. Like he looking on his phone too. He on his phone. We're not talking about me recording. I'm looking forward. And King Solomon was wise, and maybe he was the wisest king because he had wise people around him. Even Andrew Carnegie said, the reason why I was so successful is because I wasn't the expert in the room. I always surrounded myself with expert people with more expertise than I did. Now, again, I've heard people quote those things so much, but I've rarely seen people who quote them live them. I'm not saying everyone has to do it, but a lot of people know the quotes, but I've rarely seen people around them, people who can quote them, have the people around them that can talk and live the quote. People quote more than they practice, boy. Give a person a book, they read something, gain knowledge, and all of a sudden now they're going to orate to everyone else in the world. But again, I don't see them practicing the things that they orate. So I'm going to tell you again, in order to have wisdom, in order to have success, you need good counsel. You need people in your life that don't have a vested interest in seeing you fail. They want to see you succeed, not for their own success, but for your success. People that are impartial. They don't care about whether you're wealthy. They just want you to be successful. People that are not that you're not afraid to share the things you do well. Not saying that you got to share everything that's private, but again, when you're successful, these people are happy for you, and they can be critical of you in order to tell you something to avoid making a mistake. Does that mean you don't need your mother, father, or their advice? No, it's not. But again, it needs to test and measure up whether 5 people can say the same thing or your trusted counsel is the one saying something different. And if you don't have that person in your life, then I would consider you arrogant. I've had people look to employ me that I'm friends with, and I gave them free advice that otherwise I should have charged them for, to see them buck at my advice and it lead them right down to destruction. And I ask them all the time, what do you seek counsel for? What did you need me here for if you weren't going to listen? You decided to press on because my advice goes against something stirring you up and you refuse to listen to it. Henceforth, arrogance. And 5 people could be telling them the same damn thing. Guess what they'll do? They'll still bucket every one of the 5. So what do people do? They leave from being around you. People take on the position of being advisors because they think that they are, they believe that they're hired because someone wants to listen to them, and their job is to make sure you don't end up in disaster. And you buck at the person that you asked to be on your team to advise you. How in the hell does that make sense? That's like having a legal team and OJ's like, nah, I ain't doing that, Johnny. Johnny's like, look, man, we can do this and get out. We can do this and do that. What is, okay. And again, we can use OJ as an example. He had a team of advisors, legal counsel, advising him. And they had a lead counsel. This is why corporations have a legal team. They don't have a legal person. You get a lawyer, they get a legal team. Why is that? Because if one person's wrong, you got 4 or 5 other people can look at that and say, nah, that's a mistake. And you got one lead that says, hey, okay, I've looked and considered at all the possibilities, and the team has come up with multiple scenarios, and we got 3 out of the 4 people saying the same thing, and now I'm going to make a decision. And the decision could lead to success, or it could lead to a successful outcome that is much less impactful than it being the worst outcome. So again, you gotta have people in your life that can give you good counsel, or else you'll be arrogant, and arrogance will always lead to destruction. Because arrogant people cannot see past themselves. They can't see past their own decisions and the need to be right. If you watched this long, thank you for watching. I'm your host, Phillip Davis, AncestryLands.com. I hope you've been educated, enlightened, and least of all entertained. I hope I brought something new to you, a newer perspective, something that you can consider, something that you could learn. You can always show support to me, not by donations, but buying my book in the description section below, Getting Dollars from Dirt, A Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing. The link further below in the description is links to my website and where you can find me at on other social media. Remember, folks, go to AncestryLands.com, get yourself some property, $1,000 down, $250 a month, no interest, no credit checks. And remember, folks, you can own property or be owned as property. Phillip Davis, Ancestry Lands, and I'm out. Have a good morning.
Are you confused with today's real estate market? With high interest rates and overpriced housing, it can be hard to find something to own at the right price. Available on Amazon, Getting Dollars from Dirt by author Phillip H. Davis is a game-changing book that invites you to embark on a thrilling exploration of this often overlooked asset class. This book is your roadmap to unlocking the secrets of vacant land investment. Inside these pages, you will uncover the transformative power of vacant land as a wealth-building tool. Discover how to spot promising properties, assess their true value, and capitalize on market trends. From understanding zoning and permits to leveraging financing strategies, you'll gain the knowledge and confidence to make savvy investment decisions. With each page you turn, you'll gain a deeper understanding of the profound impact your investments can have on the world around you. Getting Dollars from Dirt is not just a guidebook, it's a call to action. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a curious novice, this book will empower you to tap into the immense potential of vacant land and embark on a journey toward financial freedom and a brighter future.